What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I used to be paying. Today I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining why I believe Kendrick Lamar has to perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl halftime show. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things. It helps me out a ton. It's playoff season in the NFL, which means the Super Bowl is right around the corner. And I think that this is the perfect time to bring this conversation back up, as this was one that was happening when Kendrick was first announced as the halftime performer for the Super Bowl. We've been watching the game so far, and throughout the games, there have been multiple ads promoting Kendrick Lamar as the Super Bowl halftime performer and getting everyone super excited about that show, as it was announced a while ago and people might have forgotten by now. Unfortunately, my team is not in the playoffs, as being an Arizona sports fan is just a cycle of mediocrity, despair, pain, hopelessness, abandonment, underperform. It's just really bad. But we're gonna move past that. The question of should Kendrick perform Not Like Us at the halftime show was a very potent one, and it was something that people were always talking about when this was first announced. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you why I believe he has to perform Not Like Us. Now, I'm going to give you some of the detractions as to why Kendrick Lamar shouldn't, or maybe even can't, perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. The first one, and the biggest and probably most obvious one, is just the fact that the Super Bowl is a very family-friendly event. It's huge. Everyone sees it. And Not Like Us is a very vulgar song, right? Like, it's pretty clear when you listen to the song. The song says the word PDF file a few times in it, and then, like, outside of like the obvious cursing that's just gonna kind of be in a song like this, the whole, like, one of the main pillars of the song is the fact that, like, Drake and his crew are a bunch of, like, sexual deviants.
I'm Chris Hansen, and this is an investigation
That need to be, like, investigated and ostracized. And the Super Bowl, again, it's just one of the biggest platforms in the world, really. It's probably the biggest platform in America for sure in terms of a solo performance, but it's up there in the world as well. And it's just a very family-friendly event. Like, this event has a whole bunch of advertisers who pay millions and millions of dollars for any sort of advertisement placement on the Super Bowl commercials, anything on the field, anything of the sort. Like, it's a very, very big deal, and everything has to be family-friendly. The NFL doesn't want to get too risky and risk losing some advertisers, risk losing some money, because at the end of the day, for the NFL, this is an event about making money. So in terms of, like, risking it for a halftime Super Bowl performance, they're just not really in business for that. So everything has to be at a threshold that is pretty low, into which pretty much any advertiser can put an advertisement on the Super Bowl outside of, like, super adult stuff, if you get what I'm getting at. And anybody can watch it without being offended. They don't want to ostracize anybody that's possibly in the audience, anybody with, small children watching the show. They just kind of want to keep everything to a level where it's like you could air the Super Bowl and pretty much all of its commercials on, like, Cartoon Network. You can get a little edgy here and there, a little rancy, a little, maybe some innuendo jokes and some beer ads, but nothing too far, nothing too right in front of your face and kind of crazy. And Not Like Us is a very vulgar song in terms of, like, some of the wording in there. Obviously, it's not saying that, like, that stuff is good, like being a PDF file. It's obviously, like, bashing that stuff, but at the end of the day, it could be sort of risky to some advertisers and to some portions of the audience who tune into the Super Bowl and make it the biggest and most commercialized event that happens every year, pretty much. Honestly, I feel like this is probably the weakest reason as to why Kendrick Lamar can't perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl halftime. And this is more of a can't reason than a shouldn't reason. But flagrant music and explicit music has been censored and altered into clean versions for family-friendly programming for literal decades now at this point, and that's just the radio. Like, the radio has been taking explicit music and making it a little bit more family-friendly so that everyone can listen to it for decades. Like, sure, there are some radio stations that might be a little bit more out there, a little bit crazier. You might be able to say damn on the song, or you might even be able to get away with, a B word or two. But for the most part, the radio has been taking explicit songs and repackaging them so that you can listen to them with your family, or at least so it doesn't, like, massively offend family audiences. Like, if Lil Wayne's Lollipop can be on the radio for like 15 plus years or so, I'm sure they can find a way to package Not Like Us to make it a lot more family friendly. Like, The Super Bowl has gotten very accustomed to censoring explicit music, censoring flagrant music over the last few years, especially as Jay-Z has risen to some sort of power, some role that has to do with picking out halftime performers for the Super Bowl. So they've gotten a little bit more used to it as they've incorporated more hip hop acts into the Super Bowl halftime show. Just look at Snoop Dogg, right? Like Snoop Dogg got on there and performed the next episode while wearing a blue bandana outfit, while crip walking, throwing up the crip C, and it was perfectly fine. Like he censored the song. It was cool. Nobody really had a whole bunch of complaints besides like very few people. So it was at least able to be performed. That's really what people care about. So it wasn't that serious. I'm sure that Kendrick Lamar, who is a great performer and performs all the time, can find a way to repackage Not Like Us to where it can be played on the Super Bowl. And people want to hear this song at the Super Bowl, and the NFL knows this. And they knew this when they okayed Kendrick Lamar as the halftime performer. So it's not like they're shocked. It's not like they can't believe that he would want to perform a song like this. Like, no, they knew that people wanted to hear this song when they picked him. So that's really not an issue. At least it doesn't seem to be one, in my opinion. They're going to find some workarounds to get him to be able to perform the song. The NFL, like, they want the hottest rapper in the game to perform one of the hottest rap songs over the last few years. Another common detraction is that Kendrick, by performing the song, would be giving some of his spotlight to Drake. While Not Like Us is obviously Kendrick Lamar's song, the song is most definitely about Drake. And to some people, that would give credence to the people who say things like Kendrick Lamar only had his biggest year because of Drake. He needs to thank Drake. And he really only got the Super Bowl performance because of Drake. It would give Drake fans, and probably Drake himself, the feeling that the lyrics on Family Matters hit even different. Now, like, I guarantee if Kendrick does go on to perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl, you will see Aubrey's Angels posting this portion of Family Matters where Drake says, "We already know why you went number one. It's clearly because of the boy. The honorable thing is to give me the loot." Basically saying that he's only here because of Drake. And, you know, while I don't necessarily agree with the entire idea of what they're saying, there are a lot of truths in there, and that's what kind of makes them feel emboldened to be like, yeah, what I'm saying is true. Because yeah, there's no denying that Not Like Us took Kendrick Lamar to amazing heights in 2024, unforeseen heights for 2024, and there's no denying that the beef with Drake did boost Kendrick's numbers. And I honestly believe that that's a major part as to why he ended up being the Super Bowl halftime performer, because of his performance in the beef and Not Like Us. Like, I do believe that these things are true, that he did massively benefit from the fact that he was beefing with Drake. And so that may lead people to start to push the narratives even more that Kendrick's only here because of Drake, and Drake deserves all the credit, and Kendrick needs to send Drake a thank you note, and Drake just did all this for Kendrick, and Kendrick's clout chasing. Like, that will probably lead to a lot of people really pushing those narratives. And so that's a common reason as well as to why people say Kendrick shouldn't perform Not Like Us, because he's just giving credence to Drake and the Drake fans. While there's no doubt in my mind that Not Like Us is as big as it was, or as it is, because Kendrick was dissing Drake, this was a rap beef. And this isn't like Kendrick was just some random, no-name rapper, some like Lil TJ level rapper dissing Drake, and Drake just finally gave him a little piece of attention, and, Lil TJ took it and ran with it and got a big song. That's not what happened here. This is Kendrick Lamar. This isn't just a nobody. This was combat, mutual combat. They both agree to this. Combat that, might I add, Drake instigated. Remember? Nah, not this time. You following through. Kendrick, we need ya. Use me as a they don't have anything to drop button. Drop. Remember all that? Like, this was combat that Drake instigated. Once Kendrick laid down the offer and like that, Drake took it. So you can't sit up here and act like, oh, well, this was mutual combat. Mind you, Kendrick Lamar has performed at the Super Bowl before. Obviously, it wasn't a solo performance, but he's performed at the Super Bowl before. So it's not like this is just so crazy. This is a crazy leap in popularity. He was nowhere near the stratosphere of the Super Bowl. Nah, he was there a few years ago, not by himself, but it's not that ridiculous to say a few years later he would be doing it on his own. So it's not like this is just, again, Kendrick being just so helpless, and Drake just pulling him up the ladder, and Kendrick's like, thank you, Drake. Thank you for giving me a piece of your clout. That's not what happened here. These are two of the biggest rappers of this generation, two of the biggest rappers of all time. and they engaged in a public beef, one that has been building for over a decade. So yeah, it's going to be a huge thing. It's going to be the biggest thing that happens in pop culture when that happens. That's not a surprise. This isn't a shock. And Kendrick can very much carry his own weight in terms of popularity. So it's not like, oh my gosh, Drake just blessed him. This was mutual combat. This was a fight between two of the most popular fighters in the world. And you can't get into a fight and then get mad when everybody is recording the fight and post it online and it goes viral after you get knocked out.
If a nigga knock me out and I wake up and they got them phones out, I'm gonna shoot the people with the phone.
When you fight in public, this is a rule for you watching this video as well. When you're going to fight in public in 2025, just know people are going to be recording. And Drake knew people were going to be recording his fight with Kendrick Lamar. So when he got knocked out, you can't be mad that people was recording the fight and posted it online. You knew that when you accepted the challenge to fight. You knew that that was a possibility. You can't be like, bro, you can't celebrate that knockout. You don't get to post that knockout. It's only viral because you knocked me out. What? What are you talking about? Yeah, bro, people only care about that knockout because you knocked me out. If you wouldn't have knocked me out, people wouldn't. If you would have knocked out him instead of me, people wouldn't have. You stepped in the ring, gang. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can say to save you at this point. You stepped in the ring. He gets to celebrate as much as he wants. You can't say, nah, bro, but nah, you only lit because you knocked it because I got knocked out. You shouldn't have got knocked out. We're not going to say he doesn't get to celebrate his knockout and post it everywhere and have it be super viral and dance on your grave because, oh, well, it's only big because you knocked him out. No, he gets to celebrate because he had the skill to knock you out. He had the skill to knock you out, so he gets to reap the benefits of that, reap the fruits of his labor. What are we talking about? From a what the people want aspect, people want to see this song performed. Of course, Kendrick Lamar has a very deep catalog filled with hits and classics and pretty much anything you could ask for from an artist. But at the end of the day, people want to see Not Like Us. If they know of Kendrick going into that performance, they want to see the song Not Like Us performed. And it can go on without him having to perform perfectly fine. He doesn't need, or perform Not Like Us, obviously. He doesn't need to perform Not Like Us in order to have a great performance. That's not the issue here. And I guess if he wants to go out there and not perform Not Like Us in order to not acknowledge Drake and just kind of take that as a little small ego win, I guess. But you already won the beef, bro. There's no point in trying to get any more points, gang. You won. You don't need to keep running up the score and be nah, I don't need Drake to just perform the song, bro. We want to see it. Denying the people of one of the biggest songs of last year being performed on the biggest stage in America, possibly even the world, over a little bit of ego is just kind of lame to me. Come on, bro. Just give the people what they want. And if Drake wants to take being called a PDF file on the biggest stage in America in front of millions and millions of people as a win because you acknowledged him, I guess let him have that little win in his head. But millions and millions of people are going to be dancing on his figurative grave. And low-key, this is amazing timing as well now because presumably over the next few weeks or so, Not Like Us will be in the front of people's minds as Drake has really been the best promoter of this song since around November of 2024, and we don't have that much longer until the Super Bowl. When he first took legal action against UMG regarding this song, that was kind of the biggest advertisement that the song has had really since it came out, or maybe since the music video or the pop-out concert. And now Drake has doubled down and sued UMG for defamation because of this song, stating that it's ruined his reputation with false narratives and has damaged him as a commodity. And if there's ever been an advertisement for a diss song being effective, I don't know what it is if it's better than this one, because this diss is so potent that Drake is literally suing his label for even letting it come out. And that adds to the hype of the song and the performance. So why not, if you're Kendrick, just double down and really twist the knife in? More importantly, though, I believe that this is a chance to prove a point by performing Not Like Us. Kendrick Lamar has positioned himself as somewhat of a, spokesperson or protector of rap culture. I'm what the culture feeling. And this is the biggest thing to happen in the culture over the last few years. And he's going to be going on the biggest platform in the country. This song deserves to be celebrated on this platform. It was number one for I don't even know how many weeks at this point, and it's a hit diss track that's going to be remembered probably similar to Hit 'Em Up, kind of like this generation's Hit 'Em Up. This is an opportunity to show pretty much every home in America what the culture was feeling. And not just every home in America, but even a whole bunch overseas as well. Kendrick made it very clear that he hates Drake and everything that he stands for. He believes that he is a poison on rap culture. And what better place is there to kind of victory lap and put the final nail on the coffin on the biggest poison in rap than the Super Bowl? At least, the biggest poison in rap in Kendrick's opinion. Packing out Drake at the Super Bowl would be Kendrick Lamar kind of symbolically, officially ending this beef, putting a bow on it, and just moving past it for himself, because he's about to enter a new era and go on a whole stadium tour with SZA. So this could be like the official way to put it behind him. Also, just a little bit of like more personalized stuff at the very end of this video. I would be very disappointed if he did not perform Not Like Us for like a family friendly, NFL said it wasn't, safe enough to perform reason. I would be pretty upset about that. If he said that he wanted to perform it, but the NFL didn't let him, I'd be kind of mad about that, because we just spent this whole year in 2024, that whole summer, talking about the culture and what's in, what's not culture, what is, we've been having this conversation about what that means. And then so to finally get to the biggest platform in the country and then allow a bunch of billionaires at the NFL, a bunch of corporations control you and say that you can't perform Not Like Us, to have a whole bunch of people that are not like us prevent you from performing that song, would definitely be kind of crazy. And then still going out and doing the performance anyway would definitely be kind of crazy in my opinion. But that's just me like being very, very personal to end this video off. But if you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. If you have anything to say in the video, if you disagree, if you agree, if you feel like you shouldn't perform it, if you should, whatever you got to say, I want to hear it down below in the comments. But if you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. I go by the name of Pay. Have a good day. Be safe. Be blessed. I said Pay. I go by the name of Pay. Peace.